Money doesn't ruin people. It just hands them a megaphone so you can finally hear their bad decisions loudly. Fact 1. The broke by default mindset. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Most people aren't broke because life is unfair. They're broke because they run their finances like a malfunctioning software update stuck at 3%. They wake up every day thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, repeating the same financial loops like their brain is running an outdated operating system, written in pure fear. You've seen it. You've maybe lived it. That mindset where every opportunity feels like a scam, every risk feels like death, and every dream gets postponed to when things calm down, which statistically is never. The mindset goes like this: I can't start until I'm ready. Translation: I will never start. Successful people? They launch before they're ready and patch the bugs later. They run the experiment, break things, rebuild, and repeat. Broke mindsets cling to safety and ironically lose everything anyway: time, money, momentum. The truth is uncomfortable. Staying poor is more expensive than trying and failing. Every day you delay learning, building, or investing, you're paying a hidden tax called lost potential. Upgrade your operating system or stay stuck on version almost. The choice is yours, but only one of those versions actually loads a future worth living. Fact 2. The waiting for permission mindset. Most people don't realize this, but they live their entire financial lives like they're standing in line waiting for someone to hand them a permission slip. Permission to start a business, permission to charge what they're worth, permission to leave a dead-end job, permission to want something bigger than survival. And the craziest part? The person they're waiting for doesn't exist. Nobody's coming. There's no committee. There's no cosmic green light. There's just you and the mental cage you built because you were told, be realistic, by people who never built anything themselves. High-level thinkers operate differently. They don't ask, is this allowed? They ask, is this useful? They don't wait for clarity. They create motion. They don't need applause. They need progress. You know that vibe when someone speaks with such certainty. It feels like gravity bends around them. That's not confidence. That's self-authorization. They decided they were qualified long before anyone agreed. Meanwhile, broke mindsets are terrified of being judged for trying. They'd rather stay invisible than be seen failing. But here's the punchline. Nobody's watching, nobody cares, and nobody remembers your mistakes. Everyone is too busy managing their own chaos. You want to break out? Give yourself the permission you've been begging for. That's when momentum finally wakes up. Fact 3. The effort without direction mindset. A lot of people are broke not because they're lazy, but because they're exhausted in the wrong direction. They grind like their life depends on it, but with the strategy of a Roomba slamming into the same wall for 3 hours straight. They confuse movement with progress, busyness with achievement, sweat with outcomes. It's the mindset that says, if I work harder, things will get better, while completely ignoring the fact that effort without direction just digs the hole faster. People who win financially aren't working more. They're working precisely. They choose leverage over labor, systems over stress, strategy over hustle. They multiply their energy instead of burning it. Their question isn't, how long will this take? But, does this scale? Meanwhile, the broke mindset is out here proudly bragging about sleeping 4 hours and hustling 24/7 like it's a badge of honor rather than a sign of inefficient thinking. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Discipline without intelligence is just expensive self-punishment. If your energy isn't building something that compounds, you're not progressing. You're just slowly draining your lifespan. Direction first, effort second. That's the formula. Fact 4. The fear of looking stupid mindset. This one kills more potential than poverty ever will. Most people stay broke because they're terrified of temporary embarrassment. They'd rather protect their ego than build their future. They'll avoid asking questions, avoid starting, avoid learning new skills, all because they fear looking inexperienced for 5 minutes. They're playing a game where the goal is to never look dumb instead of actually winning. But here's what high-performing thinkers know. Looking stupid is the entry fee to getting smart. They embrace day one ignorance like a feature, not a flaw. They'll walk into a room and ask the basic questions that everyone else is too insecure to say out loud. They'll try things, fail publicly, iterate, and rise, while everyone protecting their pride stays exactly where they are. The irony is ruthless. The people trying hardest to avoid looking stupid today end up being the ones who look stupid in 10 years because nothing in their life changed. The people who risk short-term embarrassment become the ones everyone asks for advice later. Your ego is either your fuel or your cage. Choose wisely. Fact 5. The comfort is the goal. Mindset. Most people secretly believe the purpose of life is to get comfortable. The soft couch, the steady paycheck, the predictable routine. They treat comfort like a trophy when in reality it's a trap disguised as a reward. Comfort is the slow anesthetic that kills ambition quietly. It convinces you that good enough is the finish line and that discomfort is a sign something's wrong, when in reality it's the only place growth even happens. People who break out financially understand something very simple. Comfort is not the destination, it's the enemy of evolution. They seek productive discomfort on purpose. They walk into uncertainty instead of avoiding it. They choose challenges that stretch them, environments that demand more, problems that force adaptation. That's why they grow, not because they're smarter, but because they're willing to feel the friction others avoid. The broke mindset clings to comfort and wonders why nothing changes. The wealthy mindset uses comfort strategically, a place to rest, not live. If your life is too easy, your future will be very hard. If your life is hard in the right ways, your future gets very easy. Fact 6. The I'll start tomorrow mindset. If procrastination had a religion, this mindset would be its holy scripture. People who stay broke aren't failing because they lack ability. They fail because they think time is unlimited. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And suddenly they're 10 years older, still planning, still researching, still waiting for the right moment, which, shocker, never arrives. Here's the brutal truth. Later is the most expensive word in the world. Every day you delay starting, something else compounds. But it's not your money, not your skills, not your opportunities. It's your regret. High-level thinkers operate like time is a diminishing resource. They execute fast, learn fast, adjust fast. They don't need perfect timing because they create momentum rather than wait for it. Meanwhile, the broke mindset treats time like it replenishes nightly, like sleep resets reality. It doesn't. Time is an investment you can't refund, and the moment you realize that, everything changes. If you don't start now, you'll wish you had, and that's the one debt you can never repay. Fact 7. The success should feel safe. Mindset. A lot of people subconsciously believe that success should feel calm, stable, and predictable. They think rising in life means finally reaching some perfect version of peace, where nothing is risky and nothing is uncomfortable. But real success? It's turbulence, it's discomfort, it's uncertainty. It's you climbing a higher mountain and wondering why the air is thinner. People with broke mindsets misinterpret discomfort as danger. They pull back the moment things get intense. They think this feels scary means this must be wrong. But thinkers at a higher level understand something crucial. Growth and discomfort are the same phenomenon wearing different names. If things feel chaotic, it's because you're evolving. The pressure you feel isn't a sign you're failing. It's the friction required to recalibrate your identity. The truth is, becoming successful feels unsafe because you're constantly stepping into versions of yourself you've never been before. But that's exactly why it works. If you're waiting for the moment success feels comfortable, congratulations, you'll wait forever. Fact 8. The I need everyone to approve mindset. This mindset alone has kept more people broke than any recession. When you need approval before taking action, your life becomes a democracy run by people who aren't even qualified to vote. You shrink your dreams to fit their fears. You downgrade your ideas to avoid their judgment. And worst of all, you outsource your confidence to an audience that's barely paying attention. High-level thinkers operate with a different frequency. They seek feedback, not permission. They listen, but they don't obey. They know opinions aren't instructions, and criticism isn't a command. They understand that the moment you rely on applause, you stop being a creator and start being a performer. Broke mindsets? They crowdsource their decisions. They ask everyone what they think. Friends with no money, coworkers who hate their jobs, relatives who've never achieved what you want. And then they wonder why they stay stuck. Approval is cheap, Vision is expensive, and you can't afford both. Fact 9. The money is the villain. Mindset. Some people grow up thinking money is dangerous, that wanting more makes you greedy, selfish, or morally questionable. So, what do? They sabotage themselves financially to avoid becoming the very monster they've been warned about. They keep their income low, shrink their ambitions, avoid opportunities, and call it humility when it's really fear in a costume. It's the mindset that treats wealth like a corrupting force instead of what it actually is, a magnifier. Money doesn't change you, it amplifies who you already are. People who thrive understand that money is a tool, not a personality disorder. They treat it like oxygen, something necessary, not shameful. They don't apologize for wanting more because they know that impact, freedom, and stability require resources. Meanwhile, the broke mindset keeps pushing money away, then wonders why life feels tight, restricted, and unfair. Here's the reality. Believing money is evil is the fastest way to keep it out of your life forever. Wealth doesn't corrupt you. Ignoring it does. Fact 10. The avoid all risks. Mindset. There's a massive difference between being careful and being paralyzed. Most people don't avoid risk. They avoid responsibility for the outcome. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to fail publicly. They don't want to admit they made the decision themselves. So they stay in the shallow end of life, pretending safety is wisdom when it's really fear dressed up as logic. What they don't understand is that avoiding risk is the riskiest strategy of all. Inflation eats your savings. Automation eats your job. Life forces you to adapt whether you want to or not. Meanwhile, the people who rise aren't reckless. They're calculated. They choose strategic risks. They study the game. They move early. They act before the crowd wakes up. If you're waiting for a zero-risk opportunity, you'll die waiting. Every meaningful decision costs something. Certainty. The people who win are the ones willing to pay that price. Fact 11. The I deserve a reward for existing. Mindset. A lot of people sabotage their finances because they treat every minor inconvenience as justification for a reward. Bad day? Buy something. Good day? Celebrate by buying something. Bored? Spend. Stressed? Spend. Not sure what you feel. Perfect. Spend anyway. It's the emotional hamster wheel that keeps people broke even when they earn more. This mindset confuses relief with progress. It mistakes pleasure for reward. It uses gratification as a coping mechanism instead of a strategy. And the worst part? People convince themselves they deserve it simply for surviving the week, as if financial success is supposed to feel like a continuous stream of dopamine hits. High-level thinkers operate differently. They reward results, not feelings. They invest before they indulge. They buy freedom, not distractions. They understand that discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect expressed over time. Meanwhile, the broke mindset keeps trading the future for the next 10 minutes, and somehow they're shocked when the future arrives empty-handed. Fact 12. The if it's not instant, it's not worth it. Mindset. This mindset is the financial equivalent of expecting six-pack abs after one sit-up. People want results fast, not because they're ambitious, but because they're addicted to immediacy. If something doesn't pay off in a week, they drop it. If the progress isn't visible in a month, they call it a failure. They treat long-term growth like an inconvenience instead of the only strategy that actually works. Meanwhile, the people who build real wealth understand a simple truth. Delayed gratification is a superpower. They plant seeds knowing they won't see fruit for years. They study, build, invest, and move quietly while everyone else demands fireworks in the first 5 minutes. They aren't chasing applause, they're building inevitability. The broke mindset quits early, switches lanes constantly, and never compounds anything long enough to see a return. They call persistence boring and discipline too hard, then wonder why life keeps restarting at level 1. If you can't delay pleasure, you'll delay success. Every single time. Fact 13. The someone will save me. Mindset. This mindset is dangerous because it feels comforting. People convince themselves that someday a miracle will arrive. A lucky break, a perfect job, a rich partner, an inheritance, a big opportunity. They think financial stability is something that happens to them, not something they build. It's fantasy disguised as optimism. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. No one is coming. Not the government, not your job, not your friends, not fate. Waiting to be rescued is the fastest way to drown. Successful people don't sit around hoping for a lifeboat. They start swimming. They become the solution. They take ownership so aggressively that life has no choice but to respond. The broke mindset avoids responsibility because responsibility comes with pressure. But pressure is the birthplace of capability. If you never carry the weight, you never build the strength. When you stop waiting for a hero, you become one. And that's when everything shifts. Fact 14. The knowledge without action. Mindset. This is the mindset of people who binge motivational content like it's Netflix, nod along to every quote, fill notebooks with brilliant insights, and then change absolutely nothing. They treat learning like a hobby instead of a weapon. They believe the idea of improvement is the same as improvement. They're intellectually full but action-starved. Here's the irony. Broke thinkers often know more than wealthy ones. They've watched more videos, read more posts, taken more courses. They just never executed. They're trapped in perpetual preparation, mistaking information for transformation. High-level thinkers use knowledge like fuel. Learn, apply, adjust. They build evidence, not theories. They understand that the point of information is implementation, not inspiration. If your knowledge isn't changing your behavior, it's just entertainment. And entertainment doesn't pay dividends. Fact 15. The I only work when I feel motivated. Mindset. People with this mindset treat motivation like Wi-Fi. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And when it's not, nothing gets done. They wait for inspiration to strike before taking action, which means they take action, rarely. They're powered by emotion instead of discipline, which is why everything in their life feels inconsistent. High performers operate on a completely different frequency. They don't need to feel like working. They work because it moves the mission forward. They know motivation is a mood, not a strategy. They understand that consistency builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence builds results. The broke mindset keeps chasing the perfect vibe, while the wealthy mindset creates progress on command. One treats discipline like punishment, the other treats discipline like freedom. If you only act when you feel like it, life will train you to never feel like it. And that's how potential dies, slowly, quietly, and full of excuses. Fact 16. The I don't need a new identity. Mindset. Most people try to change their results without changing the person producing them. They slap new habits onto an old identity and wonder why nothing sticks. It's like installing cutting-edge software on a device from 2003. It freezes, crashes, and eventually gives up. The broke mindset says, I just need more discipline. No, you need a new internal operating system. High-level thinkers build identities first, behavior second. Want money? Become the type of person who manages it. Want opportunity? Become the type of person people trust. Want power? Become the type of person who can handle responsibility without melting. Identity is the root. Everything else is the fruit. People stay broke because they cling to the outdated version of themselves, humble, fearful, cautious, predictable. They try to upgrade their life while protecting the identity that created the problem. Impossible. You don't rise by doing more. You rise by becoming someone who can handle more. Fact 17. The I must avoid failure at all costs. Mindset. People with this mindset believe failure is fatal. They act like one mistake will collapse their life, reputation, and destiny. So, they play small, move slowly, and make decisions like cowards dressed in caution tape. They worship perfection and avoid risk, which ironically guarantees the very failure they fear. Top performers see failure differently. They don't avoid it. They weaponize it. They treat mistakes like data, setbacks like feedback, and embarrassment like tuition. They fail fast, fail forward, fail publicly if necessary. Because every failure upgrades their skill set, while every fear-based decision preserves their limitations. The broke mindset keeps trying to protect fragile ego. The wealthy mindset keeps trying to expand adaptive capacity. There's a reason one group evolves and the other repeats. If you're unwilling to fail, you're unwilling to grow. And if you're unwilling to grow, life will force you to stay exactly where you are. Fact 18. The my environment doesn't matter. Mindset. This is one of the deadliest illusions. People genuinely believe they can rise while surrounded by people who never will. They think mindset beats environment, when in reality, environment shapes mindset. You can have ambition, drive, discipline, but if you're breathing in doubt, negativity, gossip, excuses, and small thinking every day, it's only a matter of time until you shrink to fit the room. High-level individuals are ruthless about environment. They remove draining people, leave stagnant circles, upgrade their proximity, and place themselves where success is the default, not the miracle. They know that your future is a reflection of the conversations you hear most often. The broke mindset stays loyal to comfort, familiarity, and low ambition. It clings to environments that feel safe but silently suffocate growth. If you want to change your life, change the room you're standing in. If you want to change your future, change who claps for you. Which mindset hit you hardest, and which one are you deleting today?